You're listening to Stories Behind the Songs with Chris Blair. For more information, check out chrisblair.com. Thank you.
Too early for all that. Too early.
How is everybody? Anybody else sipping on dark rum like Phil and I right now? It's coffee all the way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, welcome to Stories Behind the Songs. I'm Chris Blair, if we haven't met. And today I get to sit down with my buddy, Phil Vassar. And
brother. This is so fun. I like this whole songwriter thing.
We're going to get to dive into stories and how Phil got his start, and we're not really sure where the conversation is going to go. It could go anywhere, but at the end, if we've got some time, we might do some Q&A from you guys. So if you've got any questions, think about that. Phil, 25 years, brother. Man.
Oh yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, that's just as being an artist.
Yeah.
I mean, but of course.
Yeah, years before that, writing. Yeah.
I was writing songs for people, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
Let's take us back to early days. You played football and you were around music. What was it like that pushed you to like, okay, I got to move to Nashville, and take us through what really inspired you to sit down in front of the keys.
Well, I went. I grew up in Virginia and went to high school in Lynchburg and went to. I played football and ran track in college at James Madison University, which was great. But it was a fun time. It was, but Nashville was a different city when I moved there in '85.
Big time, yeah.
It was a different. I still can't, Of course, after I had my, I don't drink or do any of that. I'm so boring. I eat healthy foods, and I'm the one that had a heart attack and a stroke. But apparently. That's what happens sometimes. But my doctor at Vanderbilt, he said, I said, dude, I had a stroke. I said, I don't drink or do anything. He said, doesn't matter, bad genes. He said, great. He said, but you're good now. He said, you're great. He said, have another good 30 years, man. Have a good time. I said, I've got a song for that. Yeah. But it was just, you work so hard, and I just had my head down for so long. And, everybody telling me that piano players don't work in Nashville. And, you just got to pick up a guitar, man. You just got to do that. And I said, I'm terrible at guitar. But I was, but I just kept pursuing it, and I kept meeting songwriters like Charlie Black and Rory Burke. I mean, some of my heroes, Chris Christopherson and all these guys.
Yeah.
And they were like, man, you just got to do what you do. And I just finally, and I was trying to write, just real dumb, stupid songs like a lot of people were writing at that time. But there was some great, Bob McDill and some of those guys were having big success with, some of the artists like Black Hawk, and that was my first cut, was a Black Hawk song. It was a song called Postmark Birmingham, which went all the way to like 40 with an anchor. And so I was like, it's going to be Song of the Year. It was Song of the Year, all right. But so I had that, and then, a guy named Engelbert Humperdinck was my very first cut. And Tom Jones, which I listened to as my dad and my mother listened to those guys as kids. And George Jones, was one of my, great singers. I was a singer, and I didn't really write much when I moved to Nashville. And but I ended up, I still have George Jones's bus from when he passed away, and I had that bus. Nancy called. They knew where I was. I was on the bus with George, and and I was looking for a bus because renting a bus is like $50,000 a month now.
It's crazy.
A month, right, James? It is, but it is. It's a lot. So anyway, I always figured I'd buy the bus, and so what I did, I bought it and used it for a long time until I just got a new one. But I still have George's and I'm working on it, and I think I may just live in it. But it's just such a different town. A lot of things happening, but I got to meet some of the greatest writers ever, and they were my heroes. And guys like Charlie, and so many, Lang Martin, and guys that wrote all these songs I listened to when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't get a deal, so I actually opened up my own bar. That's what I did, like you did. Yeah. That way I had a place to play all the time, and and I developed a good following. I kept playing, like there was this Barcode O'Charlie's, and I played this bar in Antioch in Hickory Hollow, and I had this great following, and every weekend. So one day I just left that place and got my own place right down the street, and everybody started coming, and it was just rocking. I mean, it was so much fun we had on weekends, and Jody Messina would come in, and whoever, Kenny. I mean, all the Arista Records guys, all the record labels were starting to come hear about my songs because Colin Ray had cut Little Red Rodeo, and Black Hawk cut Postmark Birmingham, and then Jody cut I'm Alright Bye Bye, and all that stuff was going on while I was, having my own. It was really a fun time. It really was. It was a lot of fun, and there's a lot of just craziness, a lot of nudity, a lot of. I'm just kidding. I don't even drink, so I was always the most boring. And what I would do social drinks with everybody. Of course, as you're a club owner, you want everybody to get hammered, right? And so I'd get these juice shots, and they were just juice. It's like cranberry and sparkling water or something. I was like, a social drink. And everybody would just be hammered by like 1 a.m. And it was such a fun time, but the club was wildly successful. It did great. And then all of a sudden, all the labels would start coming in. Tim Dubois from Arista, and all these guys would come in, and they would listen. I'd play some of my songs, of course, and I was playing Bye Bye. I was playing I'm Alright. It was a staple of that audience. They knew all the songs. They requested my songs, and of course I would do Billy Joel or Jimmy Buffett or Brown Eyed Girl or all this stuff. And it was just a great time to have a club. It was. I mean, I don't ever want to go back, but it was. I mean, I would play the songs I played were not just country songs, but I'd play. Oh, well, Wolves of London. I was playing all the crazy stuff like Warren Zevon, and I loved all that stuff, and we just had a blast. And heck, it just one day I went straight from Mike Barr to on tour with Tim and Faith for the Soul to Soul tour. Just a piano on me on stage, where 25,000 people by myself on a piano. It was like the audience just really got exponentially just big, and I was just playing, Piano Man. I'd play. They'd talk to me, of course. Faith would talk to me. Tim would talk to me in the ears. You're on stage. I said, "Play Piano Man, you damn hillbilly." Kenny, and then I went from there on tour with Kenny Rogers. I did a whole tour with Kenny, and I did Kenny and I became dear friends, and he was, of course, huge songwriter fan, and he, because he wasn't really a writer, and I went out with Chesney, and Kenny and I were playing like. Seriously, almost bars, like 1,500 seat theaters. It was me and my piano again. I didn't have a band with me at that time, and we went from from playing that, Kenny was doing, he's doing fine, doing really well. I mean, he's just always had a great work ethic. He worked his ass off, and he went from that to Tractor Sexy. By the end of the summer, we were playing 30,000 seats, and with my band, and he brought all that out, and it was just unbelievable to watch all that play out, and in real time, it was beautiful.
Well, I'm glad you didn't pick up the guitar.
Yeah, well, I didn't. I still pick it up every once in a while.
Yeah. You really, I mean, you changed the sound of country music. And, I mean, to think of like, I think, what was it 2003, 2004 probably when we met? Mm-hmm. And,
totally.
And you've done countless fan parties with us now. And it's always a blast. And, just to kind of see where you've come. Before we kind of drive into, I want to dive into more of your career and everything. But in those early days with Bye Bye and all of those, what are some good stories you have of songs like that? Where did they come from? Take me in the room.
Well, I mean, most of those songs, of course, I wrote by myself because nobody would write with me. It was like, man,
they were like, he's too drunk.
Yeah, he's too drunk.
Yeah.
They thought I was drunk, and everybody thought I was a drug addict because I was such a spaz, right, all the time. And but I never did drugs, which is a shame. I'm doing now, but they're all prescription. I just didn't. I was always an athlete. I did all that stuff, and I loved. And it was, of course, when I started playing live, everybody was, the guys or the managers, the labels were like, man, you need to calm down. You look like a damn idiot running around stage. And I'm like, well, heck, I wanted to be, the rock acts. Like, I wanted to be, Tyler and all those guys from Aerosmith. I wanted to jump around and Billy Joel and all that. Because when you're a piano player, you're kind of in a one spot, right? You can't really jump around like a guitar player can. But that's what I loved about it. But it was just a little different, and I've always had a great band with me, and it's been crazy. I mean, ever since your Songwriter of the Year, and then I went straight on tour with Tim and Faith and did Soul to Soul. So it was great.
When you first moved to Nashville, was it always, hey, I want to be an artist, or was it more songwriting?
Well, they were. Everybody was like, you sing. There was a lady named Linda Hargrove, and she was a great. She wrote Tennessee Whiskey with Dean.
Oh yeah.
And she had a career as an artist, but she was a great writer, and she kind of got me from the get-go. She was like, I know exactly what you are. And then there was a show called Star Search. Remember the Star Search? Mm-hmm. And I think they're revamping Star Search now. I've heard that. And but I did Star Search. I was playing for Tommy Goldsmith, and what's the other guy? Oh my God, the great Tennessean columnist, great music columnist. Which always I read their articles all the time, and they cracked me up. Because whenever the songs would come out, and it was beautiful. I'd never seen anything like the reviews. I mean, if you were on the bad end, and of course I was, of course some of them, but I loved, I was. They said, listen, there's a show called Star Search, and Sawyer Brown had just done it, and I knew Mark and those guys, and they were great, and I loved them, So I met a lot of those guys early on too, and Mark's still great. I mean, they're just great.
Yeah,
they're great, and Mac and I, of course, and I got to. I still can't believe some of the stuff I've gotten to do over the years. I've been in the room with Christopherson and the Bushes, the presidents, and I've gotten to do all these things, but it just comes back to the simplicity of writing songs, which I always loved. That just being able to be in a room, and I got to meet Elton John, and and of course, freak show. Just all these things. Because Nigel also would come into at Nashville Village. They used to have a pub there, and he'd come in and play drums with me. It was just crazy. I was going, holy crap! This guy plays with Elton John, and but it was a weird time. I was playing golf a lot. I was always a big golfer, and that's how a lot of it started. I went out on the golf course with Spady, Brandon, and a lot of these guys. We'd play golf, but one day I just kind of got serious about my songwriting, and I really kind of immersed myself in the great writers. And I loved Mac Davis. I went out to L.A. and wrote with Mac Davis, and just wonderful people. I loved them. I loved them so much. Just being able to be in the room with guys that you grew up, we were talking about Glenn Campbell earlier, and Glenn Campbell was, just a freak on guitar, an amazing musician, and I got to play golf with Glenn, and me and Toby, Keith, and it just, Toby came out, and we kind of both had, when Carlene, my first single, came out, he's like, Toby, we're at a golf tournament. He goes, can you believe there's 2 songs in the top 5 right now with the word valedictorian in it? And I said, I know, man. Can you believe that? We laughed, and he was just the greatest laugh, and we just had so much fun, and getting to go out with Kenny was just an experience too, and seeing how he worked with his people and treated his guys, and it was just, it was just an amazing time, and so I'm very blessed about that. And then being a songwriter made all that happen, and I never figured that would be the way it happened, but it was. It's like it didn't matter how I sang, and I don't think it still does. Actually, apparently. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I have gone through this stage over the last 25 years or so in Nashville now, and early on, I would see guys on stage, and I'd be like, holy crap, Phil Vassar's on the stage playing right now. So yeah, I am sweet. Thank you, Phil. All right. I gotta know. I don't know if you can share. I don't know if you can share them, but
I can.
Let's stay on the road for a little bit.
Okay, I can
because I know like Tim and Faith and Kenny. Like these guys are notorious for pranks.
Pranksters.
That's where I was going when you're like, I'm on stage with just me and a piano, and they're talking in your ears, and I can picture it like while you're in the middle of a song.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But what's one of the wildest pranks you can share with us?
I can't. You know what? He'd always put some picture up on the piano. I'd go walk out there and say, "How's everybody doing?" I look down at my piano. There's somebody's naked or somebody on the piano, or whatever it was. It was just always funny things, and it was God, it was just crazy. What happened? Of course, being on Arista Records, which was a great time. There was and Diamond Rio. They're here and they're great, and Black Hawk, which was one of my first cuts. And having Alan Jackson, of course, who was one of my favorite writers, and just seeing him, and I did shows with him, and I got to do shows with Willie Nelson, and the shows that you think about, and Merle Haggard and I became so close, and the stories were the best, and just sitting on the buses and just hearing talking about I got a funny story. I'll tell you off the stage. But it was just a great time. It was a great time to be around the music business, and like I said, songwriters. We're losing so many of them as we speak every day, and I've lost Charlie and Robert Byrne, who wrote all that great stuff for Shenandoah and everybody else. I mean,
Brett Jones just yesterday.
yeah, and Brett Jones I mean, I still can't believe that. I mean, but it just, I don't know, after all this stuff happened, health-wise, you think you're doing everything, but inevitably, that's what happens, Inevitably, you're it's just part of life,
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, we are out here somewhere in the middle of Mexico, in the middle of the ocean. We don't know where we are right now. I think we're in Mexico. Just another day in paradise. See what I did there?
Yeah, that's the only song that's the only song that I've ever played for any. Craig Wiseman and I wrote that. Craig and I were friends in the '80s, and he came and he was a great drummer. And Craig. Craig is a big old dude.
Hawaiian shirt.
And he plays, his drumming is great, just soulful, and he could lay a pocket like nobody, but he'd come to the bar too. But that was a great day. I mean, you have days where you just write something but we were trying to, he was writing at Alma Irving. I was at EMI at that time, and we were I ran through the house, somebody was at the door, and I was late for this. Lived in Green Hills, and splashing. There was this much water in my floor in my 1940s house, and it was I said, oh my God, it was just a nightmare. Anyway, it flooded the galley kitchen, and went over to meet Craig, and he was late, so we were just both running into the writing room, and we just figured that so what happened to you? His car broke down. I said, well, my kitchen broke down. And I said, well, it's just another day in paradise. I went, let's write that. And we wrote it. And it was quick, and it was one of those things that was, we've written some of my favorite songs together, but it was a great day, and I'll never forget. I was Carlene was my first single, and I think it didn't go to number one. It went to number 2 or something, and then I got number 2'd on a lot at first, but it was a number 2 song, and then we were out in. I was writing with Mac Davis, and the label guys called and they said, man, you need to, we were doing the ACM Awards and the CMAs or something or whatever we were doing. But he said, you need to shoot a video. We want to shoot a video on Just Another Day in Paradise. It's perfect. And you're in Malibu, California right now. You might as well, while you're out here, do it. So we shot it. Everything was over the phone. Jerry Winter is the guy that produced it or directed the video, but we put. If you've ever seen the video, it's so great. But it's they put a whole set of the house, bedroom, all this stuff was on the beach. It was a cool setup, and the wind was blowing, and it was cold. It was like 50 or something in LA. That's cold, and the wind was blowing like crazy, and but you can tell. They brought a Yamaha grand piano out on stage on the beach. That was what I was playing on the beach, and it was windy. It was so windy that it sandblasted the finish off the off the $100,000 piano. So
wow.
So I had to pay that.
That's like
back.
2 months payment on a bus.
No, 2 months.
Dang.
No, so. But it was a crazy day, and it was and it was a great video and a #1 song. So that song finally, that was my first as an artist, and you know, it was so cool that I'll never forget that day. You know, it was just a pretty cool thing when your song when your songs go to #1. I had so many songs go to #2, like I said, you know, and then you know, Bye Bye, of course, and then I'm All Right, and anyway, it just it kind of happened like that. It's like when the gates opened, it opened, and I was really blessed. That was a wonderful time that I don't remember.
Well, it's 25 years since that since that song came out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. It happened.
Yeah, you can clap for that. Come on.
Don't be scared. Yeah, it was a great time. It was
Yeah.
so fun, and we got to, you know. Then I think my next single went to #2. It was like Travis Tritt was out, George Strait, and there was like all these acts. At that time, it was you really had to battle. I mean, I think Travis Tritt had one of his great songs out, and then but we ended up getting the #1 song by like 50 spins, you know. You know, it was such a numbers game, you know, back then, and you know, trying to keep up with all the. But I realized that songs like Margaritaville and stuff, they were never #1 songs.
Yeah.
You know, Piano Man was never a #1 song. It wasn't, you know. So in country music, that's what they hang their hat on. There's so many #1 songs in country music or in any music, but that should not be #1 songs. But they are, just to get that. I don't know. It's a business thing. I don't know. They tried to explain it to me one time, and I just glazed over about halfway into the conversation.
You know, I came up with the idea of doing a cruise like this back in 2017, 2018, and we didn't get real serious about it for a while until I guess this is our second year doing it. So I guess it was like 3.5 years ago. Yeah. And my buddy Jeff at Sixth Man, you know, I kept talking to him and was like, you know, we're going back and forth. Like, what do you want to create? And I was like, man, I want to take all the songwriters and I want to dive into the songs. But then, and I, you know, we've got friends that are, you know, getting ACM awards right now, the newer artists that are fantastic. But when we were kind of talking through the curation of this cruise, I was like, you know, I want to bring back the music that I grew up on, the country music that lives forever, the country music that still is going 25 years later. And I stand out, you know, on the pool deck and I watch multiple generations singing every word to every song. Yep. And you know, I think that's a testament to, you know, the music industry has changed a lot. You know, things like Spotify and Apple has been great for people to get music out, and it's also just flooded the industry with, you know,
it's inundated with subpar things.
Yeah.
Right, you know.
But you know, I bring this up because I'm curious from your perspective, like, what do you think it is that makes songs like that live on as long as your songs have?
Well, I think you know, I don't know. You sit in a room and you want to. I mean, if I hear another fucking truck song, or just whatever, I'm just kidding. I mean, I'm just telling you. No, I'm just. Is there another? Just please think of something else. Well, there's beers, there's truck, and there's girls. That's what you got. That's what my buddy said. I said, well, I'll be damned. I guess that's it. But you know, it gets boring after a while, and it's if you know, there's just more. There's so much to life than that. But I don't know. I'm not dissing anybody, but it's like, you know, I've been in writing sessions where it's, let's write a song about a truck. I'm like, no. I'd rather write a song about anything, but
it could be an EV truck.
Well, now it's
now
it's EV. But you know what? It's there's so many great things that happen every day. You got kids if you don't have kids, but I'm telling you, if you have kids, you got something to write about every day. Yeah. There's a song called Poopy Dapper, whatever. Yeah. And as you get older, you think about that too.
Yeah.
It relates to kids and adults, older adults, I guess.
I mean, yeah, the songs that you've written, man, there's so many of them that have such a deep meaning, and they are different. One of my, no, not one of my, it is my favorite song of yours that I don't get to hear you play very much because it doesn't usually fit the show. Sometimes you'll end with it, and depending on whatever, but you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna see if he knows. Do you know? Do you remember what my favorite song of yours is?
Which one?
No, he doesn't remember. That's it. That's it.
Oh, you black and white.
Yes, that's it.
How's it go? I can't remember. I've always been a big Ray Charles fan, and like I said, Ray Charles was my first. I got to open for Ray Charles at Starwood, and I've said this, but and hanging out with him backstage was one of the great joys of my life, and but I've always loved that. Craig Wiseman and I wrote this song, and it's never a single. And I've got some of my favorite songs were never singles.
Yeah.
That's just kind of the way it is in radio or whatever. You just, 3 minutes, and this is a 4-minute song? I don't even know what it is, but it doesn't really have a, good beat. It's a slow kind of a piano jazz-y song, but it's, I love this. It's probably my favorite song I've ever written, I think, and the conversations that would come out of our writing sessions. It was, I never had to really go to therapy because I have songwriter partners.
No, you did. You just went every day.
I know.
Yeah.
I said, it's like, was it Crocodile Dundee? He goes, don't you have mates? Why do you go to a therapist or whatever? But that's what songwriting, and I don't know how many times I've cried in a room with my writers or my friends and laughed. I mean, just laughed until we cried, really. And but we had to. I don't know. It was just something about being in that room where you. And Robert always said, Robert Byrne, who was one of the greatest writers, and he wrote one of my favorite songs, "What I'd Say," for Earl Thomas Connolly. I think Blake cut it, but huge song. It was the number 1 back in the. Go to hell. So you're looking well, or go to hell might be what I'd say. And that song just. My mom calling me. Sorry. No, but that song. But we always. Whatever you're going through in life, and I've been through, marriages, divorces, and more divorces, and all that things, or relationships. It always makes for great songs, and I think that when I got in a room with Charlie Black, or Charlie was like my big brother, and he was just, he wrote so many songs, and he was so, he's one of those guys that just. You're right, and I was always the spaz guy in the room. And I'm like, what if we do this? All this, and he'd just sit there and just go. And he'd kind of puff on his pipe, and he'd go. And he wouldn't say anything for 10 minutes. And that's really weird, that dead time, and then he'd just go, what if we did this? And he'd, boom, he would just lay it out, and I'm just like, yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's great. And it taught me so much about writing and about co-writing, and I'd never co-written before. And he was the guy. it was something. Him and Craig and James Slater in here is great. We've written song. It's so much fun to sit in a room with your friend that you can just. He says, Robert always goes, sometimes, man, when you write in session, you got to drop your pants. I'm like, huh? Well, you just gotta expose yourself. I'm like, but I get, he meant it. Yeah, he just meant it figuratively, I guess. But he's.
Or did he?
Yeah. That's different writing sessions. But you know what? It's there's nothing like when you're sitting in the room with a songwriter and somebody you can really trust. It is a really it's a freeing experience. I mean, it's like you can say anything and not feel stupid, right?
Yeah. Is it usually lyrics or melody that comes first for you?
For me, I like if I'm messing around on a piano and I'll play around and like black and whites or whatever. You just if you get kind of an idea of what. And I grew up such a big Billy Joel fan, and Elton John and I played. It's all this stuff, and Elton didn't write lyrics. He never wrote lyrics, but he had a great lyricist, Bernie Taupin. He'd come and Bernie, as a matter of fact, a couple of times, Bernie would just bring over lyrics, right, to me. I'm going, and it was weird, but he. I don't know. Elton didn't really have to. I mean, he was such a musical, just a genius. And being able to sit in a room and watch him play and talk to him, and he was just incredibly gracious. And I mean, I didn't know what to expect because a lot of the guys you meet in rock are very, kind of standoffish a little bit because it's their image or their thing. But Elton wasn't like that at all, and I thought that was really cool that he, Lisa Olson, of course, Nigel's, his wife, his ex-wife, I knew her too, but anyway, and whenever Nigel would come in and he'd just come and play, he just wanted to play music. He just loved it so much, and I mean, it was, but just getting to record all those songs, can you imagine getting to suck, getting to, I mean, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road or whatever, all these songs, and Your Song. I mean, we were talking about that yesterday, James. I mean, and all these songs that they wrote, it was just a different time, and of course, Nashville's such a different vibe, of course, than LA. You go to LA, and I've written with Desmond Child, I've written with all these guys, and you talk about a party. Woo, but it was, we went down to Desmond's and I'll never forget going down to South Beach and, which was it's just always interesting.
Desmond wrote like everything for Bon Jovi, if you don't know. So
yeah,
like,
Living on a Prayer.
He's a rocker.
And Living La Vida Loca, which we were writing, and we were writing one time, and it was like he said, let's go dancing in the rain, take our clothes off, go insane. And I went, I don't know if that'll work in our genre. He said, I'm telling you, that's going to work. And what did it? That's make you take your clothes off and go dancing in the rain. It worked. So he wrote "Living La Vida Loca." It's just that came out of that writing session, but anyway, he just. I just love it. I just love the genius of these guys. I love the genius of these writers, and some of them are real, like Dean Dillon, and some of those guys are so, it's real quiet. They'll say, like "The Chair" is one of my favorite songs. I love that song, and I used to do that in clubs, and and of course, having George Strait do your song. I've never ever had George Strait do one of my songs, but yeah, maybe one day.
Yeah.
But it was so much fun to hear, different, and all the great writers that are in Nashville, and I don't know. I just never take that for granted. I'm very blessed to have been in the middle of that.
Yeah. We're probably going to ask a couple questions here soon. So Ashley's going to be walking around. So think of a question. But speaking of taking nothing for granted, let's talk about that a little bit. 2023 January, right?
February the 4th.
February.
Yeah, I had a heart attack.
It was not long after that I got a phone call from our friend Debbie, and she said, and I could hear it in her voice as soon as I picked up the phone. And she said, "Chris, Phil is okay, but he died."
Yeah,
I
I've
was
died
like,
many nights.
Say that again. And man, yeah, you went through a hard one. How going through that? How has that changed the perspective of life for you?
Well, I'm definitely different.
Yeah.
I'm definitely different now. I was so wired, I didn't know that my arteries were 95% blocked or whatever. I just, I wasn't getting blood to my brain, but it was, it's been cathartic. The whole thing, just going through what happened, and of course, just being able to move on now from that, and I've always been I don't write ballads, honestly. I mean, I've had a million hits that were never. They're all up tempo about this or being mad at a girl or something, but it was. It's kind of cool to sort of look back and. Last Day of My Life was a song I wrote with Tim, my buddy Tim Ryan, and we just lost Robert Byrne, who was one of my dear friends, and we wrote so many songs together, and he's the guy that he was always like, when I had to write something deep, he was the guy, right? He was he wanted. I was always just flip-flopping, on the surface a lot, and which is fine too, because that's how I had hit songs. And but he changed me a lot, and he had he had a battle with alcohol for years, and it killed him, right? So it was one of the reasons I probably didn't drink it. That was one of the things. I didn't. He had a horrible relationship with alcohol, and I know lots of writers, that have that too, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of a real. You're dark, you're light, you're happy, you're sad, and very extreme ends of the spectrum, But we wrote that song "Last Day of My Life." That was my first ballad #1 song. And it was a, big song for us. But
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that.
That was weird. But now we're back to happy
Now we're
things.
back. We're rocking.
Now back to happy stuff.
Yes. All right. One or two questions out there. Anybody have anything they want to ask? We got one right here. What's your name?
Sean.
Hey, Sean.
Phil and I we met in the gym this morning. Got to have a nice conversation.
Hey, Sean.
I'm from Virginia. This is my shy wife Amanda that did not come to the gym, so she did not get to meet you. Anyway, my question is this: what is one of your favorite songs that you wrote or co-wrote that someone else recorded that went #1 that you wish you had kept for yourself to put out? Is that a good question?
Yeah, that's a great question. All of them. Every single one.
Next. No, just kidding.
I mean, I'm telling you, it was, it was unbelievable. But I mean, I played, like I said, I played all these songs in my bar, and I knew they were hits, but the labels and what do they call it, A&R people, they suck. I'm telling you, they suck. They suck. They suck. They really are. I don't know what they get paid for. They're terrible. But anyway, they have their idea of what's good and what's bad, and anyway. But what I did, I always played a new song for the audience. I would play a song. So what do you guys think about this? On my 30th birthday, I came out to my bar, and I played my next 30 years. I didn't think anything of it, because a lot of times I'd play a song and it'd be like crickets. Like, play some Skinner. Yeah, let's mark that one off, and then that was what it was. And then, but 30 years was and of course, that song almost didn't get cut. But I wish, I kind of wish I would have had it. But at that point, publishing was a different thing, and you made great money writing songs, and I was just like, I finally just said, cut them all. I don't care. And that was I'm All Right. That was Bye Bye. That was everything. Paradise. Matter of fact, Lone Star had already cut Just Another Day in Paradise. And Tim Dubois went in and said, Mister, that's Phil's song. That's our song. So I said, well, okay. And they had already cut it and everything. So, but it was a big song for me, so it worked out. I've had so many songwriter buddies. They say, song finds the right place. It finds the right home, and many of mine did. And I mean, yes, I probably would have been had more hits as an artist or whatever, but I can't complain one bit about how things have worked out.
Yeah. Thanks, Sean. We've got one right down here in the front, Ashley. Or are you back there? Yeah.
I know you.
Okay, so I'm going to take it back to the courtyard. My favorite song is April Fool's.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what?
The question was, the favorite song was April Fool's and why you didn't cut it.
It's a song I wrote 30-some years ago, and I used to do it every night when I played at the bar. And, of course, I don't know. It'll be a hit for somebody at some point. It could be. I'm 100, and I'll be 103 years old going, I tell you, my teeth will fly out on the high parts.
All right, we got.
Ballads were hard to get cut at that point. It was like,
Yeah.
So it was a different time, and who knows? We'll see. Who knows?
We'll do one more right back here. What's your name?
My name is Peaches.
Hey, Peaches.
Peaches Nesbitt. Hi, Peaches. I like peaches.
I am actually Philip's big sister.
Yes, she is. You're not that big.
What is your favorite? My favorite song is Lemonade.
Oh, yeah.
So how did that come about?
Well, Lemonade is probably one of mine, too. Once again, I don't know if I've ever really pitched that song, but I was Charlie. What? Lemonade, that cool, refreshing drink. But it's a song I wrote about. That was Eddie Murphy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But it's a song I wrote about my daughter. She was in school, like junior high or something, and she was having a horrible day, girl crap, and she said my hair looked terrible, or whatever. I don't know, whatever was going on. And I was on the road, and Charlie was out on the road with me, actually, and shoot, I don't remember. Jeff might know better. I can't remember, but. This song came out of a conversation of, she was very sad about something, and I tried to talk her off the ledge as I did, this is cool. This is just a prop. They said, we're just going to set this in front of you today so you'll have something to do. But it was a cool, it's one of my favorite songs, and it always will be because, of course, you write songs about your kids, and, you know, it was special.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say.
Thank you for the questions. Let's talk about the 25 Years of Paradise tour and what all the fans can expect.
No, now you'd show up, Jeff. He ate something in Mexico yesterday. It really bothers him. Set him. But Jeff and I have been playing music together since we were kids, and literally. And but Jeff has a brother that's, how old is he? 19, 17 years older. That's a party. That's a party mistake right there. A party foul. But he's played with me in bands since I was 22 or something, and always. But anyway, his brother played with my dad. It was a bass player in my dad's band.
Yeah.
He was 17 years older, and it was a great. They had a great, like the local band in Virginia, and they did really well. But my dad was like, "Go to business school." As a matter of fact, my dad was trying to get me to get into the dump truck business. I'm not kidding, which is probably what I should have done. It's a great business. Anyway, but one of our friends was selling his company, and he was like, anyway, great company. Of course, I just decided to go the other road. I went to college and went to straight to Nashville, and then wallowed in obscurity for a long time until I wasn't. But I had a great time. It was a great journey, and it's just part of the life's rich pageantry, is it not? Yes, it is. But we, I just played a lot of songs and I just think about some of these songs that I've cut all these songs to, and only 10% of them maybe were ever heard or
Right.
hits, and you don't know what's going to come out. Of course, some of these songs, they'll find a place, I guess, at some point. Maybe.
They will.
What do you think?
They will.
I don't know.
So the tour.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back to that.
Yes, we're going on tour and going out with Old Dominion with this spring, which is April and May. I'm going to do in Canada with those guys, and of course those guys, Matt Ramsey and those guys used to come out on the, come to the shows and yeah, man, and my sister, what?
Mike, the mic quit.
Hello? Is that working?
Don't mind us. We're just having our own conversation.
Yes. But anyway, those guys have just blown up and doing so great. And but they're all from Virginia, which is called the Old Dominion State, and which is fun. So I was like, Old Dominion. I didn't think that was going to work as a name. Was I wrong?
Matt,
I love it.
Brad, and Trevor used to
Yep.
play the listening room in rounds together before Old Dominion was even a thing.
Yep.
And then started just jamming with each other, doing harmonies, and was like, and then all of a sudden, 7
Billion records
years
later.
in a row.
CMAs are.
Yeah.
But it's incredible. It's what can happen. That's what I love about Nashville, and I love about our business. You can be nobody, and then you can be somebody in a minute. 1 second, especially now with the internet. Hello. What happened? Now I can hear. This is great. Holy crap.
Okay, let's start over. So, Phil.
Yeah. Good to see you, Chris.
What
We've
was it
been-
like growing up in Virginia?
It was hell. So funny. Wow, that's interesting. I didn't know that was going on. But yeah, it's fun, man. This is the first cruise I've done since I did one with Diamond Rio was on the first cruise I did, and so was Montgomery Gentry, and I miss Troy.
Yeah.
And it's unbelievable some of the things we've seen. We actually toured together, me and Kenny, and Montgomery Gentry, and that was that tour we did, and I think that was the one time they beat out Brooks and Dunn when they first won that award at that ACM or CMAs or whatever it was. But it was just such a great time. And anyway, good grief, what a great bunch of folks I've gotten to. And of course, Dina Carter was one of the first people I met when I moved to Nashville in the '80s. She was at a place called Calhoun's in Rivergate, and man, she's just she's a sweetheart, and I never forget, hearing her record when Strawberry Wine came out. I was just like, oh God, it was huge, and it was just so great, and but we all we all kind of came through the ranks together. It was so fun to watch all that go down with Kenny and Tim and everybody blow up, and wow, so fun. Can we start over now? Let's do it again.
Yeah. Man, I can't wait. Everybody, make sure that you go check out Phil's tour. It's going to be incredible. I'm gonna have to look and get in a bag and
Come on.
get put underneath the bus for
Got a
for part
bunk
of it.
right there for you, right there,
Yeah.
my brother.
Man, thank you so much, Phil.
Oh, is it over? Kicking
Yeah,
me
I'm
out
watching the time and I'm like, there's so much more I want to talk about, but we got like 3 minutes, and so.
now. I've got a barn. I've got a barn we
Yeah,
can do
let's
that in.
let's just switch it. I mean, do you want to play us a little song?
For what are we doing? Which one?
I mean, you know what I'm gonna ask for, but
It's embarrassing to play when James Slater's here. There's so many choices in my life these days, and so much confusion, and so many shades of gray. And sometimes I don't know my left from my right, but I've got these old black and whites. Well, I'm every color that you can paint. A father, a lover, a mother, and a sinner, and a saint. From Sunday morning to Saturday night, yeah, I've got these old black and whites. Well, under the spotlight, or all alone at midnight, you know I'm right where I belong. It always unwinds me, yeah, it finds me, then reminds me that life is as simple as a song. And lovers will come, but surely they'll go. They fly you so high, say hello, say goodbye, and then they leave you low. that I write right here on these old black and whites. Well, under the spotlight or all alone at midnight, you know I'm right where I belong. Yeah. It always unwinds me, yeah, it finds me. It reminds me that life is as simple as a song. So roll over, Beethoven. I ain't finished.
Cause oh, Chris, cause use a little room.
Yeah, that's right. That's right now. Okay, so roll over, Beethoven. Cause oh, Phil could use a little room. Yeah, that's right. I may be out of time, and I may be out of tune. You know how it feels to pour out your life right here on these old black and white. Yeah, living life in black and white. Yeah, that's right. Okay, you can clap now. Yeah.
Phil Vassar, everybody.
Thank you so much.
This has been an episode of Stories Behind the Songs with Chris Blair. For more information after the show, head over to chrisblair.com. That's where you can find information on these episodes, trailer notes, video links, all kinds of great stuff. Also, make sure to leave us a great rating on iTunes, like and follow us on Spotify, YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts. Leave us a comment, let us know what you think. I really hope that you think this show is awesome, and we really appreciate the love and support. I promise to keep gathering great content and continuing to sit down with more amazing songwriters and artists as we grow. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks for the support. We'll see you next time.